Hey Hada, what's happening in Melee? So many things, and I feel bad. Last week we were not able to get this rolling. I got to the end of the week without messaging you once again, but we're here to recap Riptide, here to look ahead in the future because we got some big tournaments coming up. Egg Dog's trying to take over the world. Hada, how's it going?
Dude, when am I getting my Egg Dog sponsorship? Let me keep it a buck.
Oh, hey, what's going on with Ace
chat.
over there?
Hey,
Don't tell me. Don't tell me all chat.
I'm hanging out with all chat at Big House this year. I'm very, very excited. I did want to give a huge shout out to my boys in the volleyball bracket at Riptide. So my boys, Battery, Carol, and was it Harrison Henry? Oh my god, I completely forgot. I only
Taking
got...
a shot off of the trophy too.
Yeah, that was sweet. So what I will say is Aaron, aka Battery, and myself were supposed to be the dynamic duo, and then we were going to carry one lucky soul to a major win. But I tried to register for the volleyball bracket the second it went live, and my Start GG crashed, and I wasn't able to get in. So, you know, shout out to all the gamers who got excited about volleyball, but your boy wasn't able to get in, and I would have been a major winner. I'm just gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah, because you actually play, like some of the people who got to play whose Start GGs didn't crash, not regular volleyball people, but how do you play volleyball? That's the thing that you do.
I do, yeah. I've been playing volleyball for about 11 years, and Aaron and I talk about the AVP. We talk about volleyball probably 90% of the time, Melee about 2% of the time, and volleyball utilities and merchandise the other 8. So it's like we had good plans, but next year, I'm sorry, but the champions will be Battery, Hada, and whatever lucky soul decides that they're going to be graced with our presence. Ideally, it's Jet Shadow, because she played D1 volleyball in Texas. We're just going to steamroll everybody. That's the ideal team. Ooh. That's the ideal team.
Super team.
Absolute ringer super team. I think it would be really unfair, to be honest, but I don't care.
If you put me and Jmook on the same Frisbee team, we definitely roll, but I'm sure Jmook has a bunch of ultimate Frisbee friends up there in the upstate, so...
You know what's funny is myself, Slumlord, and Exor, who is also an all-chat executive, all played high-level college volleyball, ultimate Frisbee as well.
That's right. I keep forgetting. Yes,
I played high-level mixed club, and Exor actually played on in the pro leagues. He played oh my god, he played AUDL and out and
the AUDL. Yeah,
yeah. He played.
Sorry, I call it AUDL. They might not actually particularly like that, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So there's all chat specifically with our propensity to lean towards physical fitness, hence our new motto going into this year: love sports. Everyone in all chat at one point was a varsity athlete in high school or even higher level, either going to play professionally, semi-professionally, or in college. So if there's ever any Melee/Smash adjacent sports events, and all chat decides to run in there and make something happen, it's definitely be a little one-sided, but you know,
imagine if CLG still existed. What if we did Melee volleyball the same weekend as IRL volleyball? Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
True.
It was so cool.
PPU is a little bit of a volleyball fanatic as well, so shout out to Kev Toy. Maybe we'll just carry Kevin Toy to a major win. Me and Aaron will just slide into K Toy's DMs, be like, "Hey, trying to win Riptide next year? I don't know, man. We'll see."
Ohio misses you.
But
what Ohio event would have PPU ever have attended? I'd love to see that. I'm sure it happened at some point. PPU played enough years in Melee. So with Riptide, other than the volleyball bracket, we also had doubles. Let's just give a quick shout out to Egg Static for once again showing out. Look, without Hungrybox and Plup, who Hungrybox has been on vacation for what feels like over a month, which is not probably quite accurate, but it's been for a couple of Melee brackets now. I'm starting to actually find myself like thinking, oh, where's Hungrybox? He's supposed to be in the Melee bracket, but you know what? We've had so many brackets with Hungrybox just winning out directly. I cannot get super uptight about the fact that he is not going to a few events here and traveling the world doing vacay stuff, celebrating his mom's birthday. Shout out Hungrybox's mom. So this is another Egg Static bracket, this time over Wizrobe and Gatsu. Wizrobe, who we'll be talking about more on the singles side of things, but congrats to Egg Static. Who else stands out to you here? I mean, this is obviously a good time to talk about the fact that we got Wizrobe out here, and thanks to Egg Dog, I assume, because Egg Dog's trying to get Wizrobe to every other big event, which we will also get to. Anything else stand out to you, though, Hada?
I mean, the biggest thing coming out of Riptide was definitely the attendance of Plup and Wizzy, and again, I gotta give a lot of credit to Egg Dog. Egg Dog, I don't know where their money comes from. I don't know exactly how their pockets are lined this way, but it seems they're just flying out and paying these registration fees for all your favorite top players. And when it really boils down to it, having a non-committal sponsorship in the Melee sphere is a very incentivizing thing for top Melee professionals, especially people in the position of Wizrobe and Cody, where you have that super top tier, consistently top 8, potentially top 4 every single bracket, and it's a great thing that you can get those trips and those big ticket items covered by an organization just to wear a hoodie or just to wear a t-shirt during top 8, and you don't have to have those 6-month, 9-month, even year-long committals for signing on to an organization long term. So I do think what they're doing is really cool. Now Egg Dog is a very commonplace and a very I guess spectator friendly brand, because I personally love their hoodie. Their hoodie's super cool. So I've thought about purchasing their gear just by proxy of seeing it so many times. So clearly it's a marketing scheme, or it's not as it's a bad thing per se. They're flying out a lot of great top tier talent who otherwise wouldn't have been able to, and they're doing a great service for the community and a lot of these players who are kind of down on their luck. And I'm really excited to see Plup come out to more stuff. I know I believe B-Bats, Magi, Cobalt, Lucky, and KJH are all going to Big House under the Egg Dog banner as well. So, big ups to Egg Dog for doing the Lord's work to get everybody out there.
And with this event, obviously the big focus being on singles as per usual. We give love to the doubles because it's going to always be a really important part of Melee. That's why we keep running the doubles brackets. If we really didn't care about doubles Hada, we would not be running them, because just imagine if there's a world, right, where instead of doing doubles, we're doing 4-player free-for-alls with items on, and people go, well, nobody really cares about that anymore. It had its time in the sun. K-Toy's the best free-for-all items on player of all time. we would be talking about like a different game mode and still playing it. And so that's what I'm saying. Doubles is so important because it keeps showing up. People keep asking for it. It does not have the time of day that singles has, but it is a very important part of our gaming community. Like the culture of Melee, like there's a part of it that flows through and around doubles. The most hyped clip of all time was a doubles match. So that's why it's important to us. And now we go on to singles. I said what I needed to say. There's some fun things that we had. We, for example, have a Justice. Shout outs to Justice. Normally the editor of your favorite and friends, and also putting out actual clips as well with the Fox. But Justice making top 16. Mm-hmm. You have B-Bats with the magical run to top 8. So for the top 16 side of things, what were some of the things that stood out to you, Hada?
I think Ossified taking none to Game 5, mainstay of the Midwest Melee community. It's really cool to see them make a top 16, as well as, take a historic top 30 player to Game 5. That was an incredible set to see. B-Bat's monster run. Absolutely incredible performance out of B-Bats. Game 5 victory over Magi, Game 5 victory over Aklo to make top 8, and then come out in 7th place. That's an amazing performance from B-Bats. And I was listening to B-Bats talk with Salt on the late night Cody stream, because they were taking the subathon shift, and saying how with that run, especially if B-Bats can have a pretty stellar, not even an above average, but a pretty, maybe top 25, gets a top 25 performance at Big House, kind of solidifies their top 30 status going into this next year. So really, really excited to see exactly what happens going into Big House for B-Bats' career, but B-Bats absolutely was the player of the tournament outside of those people making a run for first, second, third place.
I really hope that BBS continues to pull things together. I mean, watching the top 8 set versus Ben, there was some missed edge guards, and one of the things that BBats is known for is edge guards, so I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot. What I'm saying is, BBats, if you're listening or watching, is that you have so many things, and you know that mentality is a big part of once you get to this top level and you're pushing from top 50 to top 30, top 30 to top 10, and so on. A lot of it happens up here in the brain, because you got all that other stuff down, stuff that I continue to struggle with, like being consistent on whatever controller I might be using in a given moment. There's so many things that you're amazing at, and so BBats, you keep putting the rest of it together. These results are going to keep rolling in, and it is only because it is well deserved. So another interesting thing when we look at top 8 is the fact that AMSA, the beneficiary of an amazing awesome sauce 40 almost 50-minute video going out there into the internet and getting nice views, and we all love AMSA. AMSA is still trying to push for the end of this 12-ish, yeah, it's almost about, or almost completely on the dot, 12 months since getting the visa to be in Canada, playing Melee over here, had some amazing results towards the end last year. As soon as moving over here, seemed to move into top 3, and then finishing with first place finishes, like winning the Big House 10. And now the end is coming. The end is coming, Hada, where AMSA's got to go back home and is going to be taking a break, like a real break. He's tweeted this out before. He's not going to be super active in the November and December time. We'll be taking a legitimate couple-month-long break from coming over here and competing in majors. So the window is closing, and when you have a 7th place finish, it's kind of the okay, what now? I'm pushing just to make top 8. I'm not pushing for a top 3 finish consistently anymore. So in your mind, Hada, is it possible for AMSA to win another event this year before the competition break sets in, or is it more of we need to come back next year with some new things cooked up in the AMSA kitchen, the grind set cave, and then surprise some people again? Because I kind of think that is the direction we're heading in, but it's one of those things. AMSA is that kind of competitor that can turn around a 7th place finish like this and then turn heads at the next event. So I'm just trying to get a read from you what you think the possibilities are for a top 3 or top 1 finish between now and I think the Big House 11. It's either that or the event after that will be AMSA's last event for the year.
So something that I've been feeling about AMSA for a little while now is he had a stellar end of the year last year. Big House going into Scuff World Tour and a couple other events that he managed to take home the win in. I believe it was Pound as well, if I remember correctly. But I think that, and this is not to discredit AMSA's skill, AMSA's talent, AMSA's work ethic at all, I think it was kind of a sucker punch for the rest of the Melee community. I don't think that the highest level of competitors were really putting in the necessary hours to understand the intricacies of what Yoshi brings to the table on those tertiary mix-ups. So beyond just, getting super armored through your weak hits or double jump canceling or platform movement or early juggles, I think that you really see the difference in preparation coming from the Canadian Foxes, and I think that's really where it started, is Moki and Zuppy specifically with constant practice with players like Monotheon, who's an amazing Yoshi player in Canada, had that idea and had that baseline knowledge to apply their specific mix-ups to be able to contend with AMSA, and then with even more preparation, even more exposure, VODs to study, VODs to analyze, they started to have the edge in the matchup going into this year. And I think that's where the rest of the community is kind of pushing towards. You have players like IBDW, like Zane, like Jmook, who gave AMSA some trouble, and I think Jmook is a little bit still behind the 8 ball because I believe AMSA took their most recent set. But of course, these are very contentious sets, and I think AMSA was really blowing people up at the end of last year. So coming through into the end of this year, I think that AMSA has the skill, has the talent, has the wherewithal to be able to take another tournament, to be able to make another top 3 finish. It's 100% in the cards, but I really think it has to be he can't play his B game. He has to play his A plus game consistently throughout the top 8, throughout that top 16, in order to make a guaranteed push towards the end of the year. I'm just really scared to see what those brackets end up looking like going forward for AMSA. Is he going to continue to run into Moki? Moki's been an extraordinarily large problem for AMSA this year of 2023, and I'm hoping to see AMSA really start to be able to push back specifically against those Canadian foxes like Zuppy and Moki.
Yes, the official schedule here. So we'll be going back to Japan after the off-season 2, which is not this weekend, but the following weekend, and then coming back to the U.S. just for the Big House 11, and then break until February and beyond. Hopefully we'll be at Genesis, but have we seen a Genesis announcement? I feel like we haven't, so probably we'll have to account for that because that's a mid to late January event. Of course, one of the 2 biggest events of the year. Might be the biggest event to be proven this year. We'll see how the Big House 11 turns out because we are still over a month away. It's going to be glorious. Okay, so other than AMSA's finish here, other notable placements, Lod, the doctor himself, coming in and casually, just kind of coming in and going, they didn't know that I finished 3 at a Melee major this past weekend. And there was somebody in the replies being really mean about, you can't do this every time you go to a tournament, you can't just like talk about this. And I go, oh no, Lod went to medical school for years and years and years just so that he could do this. Go off king.
Yeah.
Let's go Lod, working full time, doing literal doctor work, and then not casually, it's tough to finish 3rd place here. You have to get past so many great competitors. We already talked about the AMSA set. Then you get past Axe, and then a game 5 versus Moki, and then you lose the game 5 versus Wizrobe. That was very close. I think it was Wizrobe that knocked Lod into. Okay, no, never mind. Let me not.
So I got it pulled up. So Lod, we talked about BBAT's losers run, but Lod may have had probably one of the most impressive losers runs that I've seen this past year. Lod taking a game, so 3-1 loss to Gatsu. Gatsu very strong in the Peach matchup.
Gatsu, yes.
Lod then takes a 3-0 win over Wenz, who was previously the highest PR'd Fox player from Kentucky. I don't remember if that's still the case. Very, very fast technical Fox. 3-1 over Grab, one of the best Marths in the Midwest. Game 5 win over Flash, who is the greatest hidden boss Falco that everyone loves to talk about. Flash, an amazingly talented player. Lod then moving into top 16 for a Peach Ditto against Polish. So these are all different matchups, by the way. So we had Fox. Then we had... Wait. I gotta go back. So it was, for the losers run specifically, it was a win over Fox, a win over Marth, a win over Falco, and then moving in, winning the Peach Ditto over Polish.
Oh, yeah.
Then beating Kadoran 3-0 to qualify for top 8, another Marth. Going into loser side of top 8, 3-1 victory over AMSA, that's a Yoshi. 3-1 victory over Axe's Pikachu. Game 5 win over Moki's Fox, and then finally gets double jeopardied by the ex-Florida Falcons. So that's Wizrobe and Gatsu. So Wizrobe, a Game 5 loss. A Game 5 loss to Wizrobe in losers finals. And then, of course, Wizrobe goes into have a Game 5 banger set against Plup, and Plup takes home the dub. But what an absolutely monstrous losers run from Lod. The peaches were eaten at this tournament, I'm going to be honest. BBAT's had a very high profile loser run, but Lod completely went off. Definitely had the easier side of the bracket for the peaches. Didn't have to run into Ben, didn't have to run into Moki, but had the Yoshi, had the Pika, which are great matchups for Peach. But absolutely turned up here at Riptide.
And for the record, did beat Moki, but it's kind of nice to ramp up into that. Mm-hmm. You almost, as a competitor, you almost kind of wish to have something where you can get the juices flowing. That's not immediate Game 5 barn burner type situation where you can kind of settle into Championship Sunday. Although with Lod, I think Lod is one of those competitors where the floor is always high because Lod has played long enough and knows what he needs to do to be ready to play for a weekend where the week prior leading up to the event, it's not like he gets to grind for 8 hours a day, either with top players on 1v1s, or if it's just like riding through unranked or riding through ranked. Lod's prep is not super intensive in terms of the time spent because you can't spend that much time working full time doing doctor stuff, but has figured out this is what I need to do to have my floor at this level. So I kind of feel like Lod is in that tier of players who always bring a really good B game, if not a really good A game. Maybe tapping into the S tier level stuff where you're winning tournaments is not quite there, but for a third place finish, like again, AMSA would love to have this third place finish right now, but it's Lod coming away with it. Shout outs to Lod. Shout outs to Wizrobe. A game 10, is that what I'm seeing here? 3-2 and then 2-3. Just you don't expect to see this kind of stuff when it's Wizrobe versus Plup. How many times have we seen Wizrobe have a great tournament, but then run into the one character, the one person who he has no interest in playing in?
Yep.
Okay, well, other than the competitor standpoint of, hey, give me anybody, I wanna beat the best. But would also, I don't mind if I do not see Plup, don't put me in front of Plup. And yet taking it to him. I love to see that. Yep. So shout outs to Wizrobe. Great second place finish in terms of proving I can do it versus this. I could do it versus Plup. But maybe it's also at the same time, don't give me a game 10 second place finish. I hate this. I hate my life. I stayed up all night, couldn't sleep, and then I had to do this. And I just hate everything. I don't know which side Wizrobe falls on it truly, because I think he's kind of in the same vein as Zane, puts out a really good, puts out a good face. I don't know how to phrase it. I don't know if I've ever seen a salty Wizrobe tweet thread. That's all I'm saying. I think
Wizrobe's a very stoic young man, and I always forget that I'm a good bit older than Wizrobe, because I feel like we've been in the scene. He's actually been in the competitive scene a little longer than I have, just because he started so young. Speaking on Plup's dominance factor, there are players at the highest level who kind of just get bodied, not really by Sheik, but by Plup. Plup, right. With that was first to 20 against AMSA for the Red Bull event. I think won like 20-4 or something like that, or 20-3. Like, it was not even close. And then of course Plup has this absolutely monstrously one-sided set history against Wizrobe specifically. I believe it's probably upwards of maybe like even 40-4. It's a very one-sided, very skewed statistic. And, Plup is just one of those players that if he has you figured out, if he has a game plan for you, it's really hard to overcome. He's a very oppressive and very dominant player. But if you can go toe-to-toe with him, that's great. And Wizrobe has that factor against some other players as well. But I think another player that Wizrobe has had problems with in the past is Mango. Wizrobe, I don't think has ever taken an offline set against Mango. I believe only taking one online set during the
great gif era. Great celebration gif.
That's like whatever.
Wait, it spawned 2. Wait, hold on, it spawned 2 because Mango with the run back.
Yeah. And so I'm sure Wizzy's still looking for that offline win over Mango. Mango very dominant set history against all the top Falcons, and I'm really hoping to see more of Plup and Wizzy specifically. It's that the gif keeps spawning of Hungry Box winning his whatever bracket, and then Plup and Wizzy showing up for the first time in 6 months. It's Jason Momoa sneaking up on whoever played Superman in the most recent DC movies, but it's the
Henry Cavill.
I think it's Henry Cavill. Yeah, maybe something like that. I digress. I'm really, really excited to see more from Plup and Wizzy. I'm pretty sure Wizzy is going to off season because they have 64. I'm almost certain.
Oh yeah, he's going to be there, but will he be playing Melee is the question, because he opted to only do 64 at Super Smash Con, which makes more sense, but the prize pool is big enough, not from a monetary perspective per se, although Wizzy is a free agent, but more from the idea of there's going to be a lot of good 64 players that will be showing up, and you kind of want to he's a big part of that community. He wants to give them the time of day. I'm curious if he's going to enter both events or just one, because based off of SmashCon, he's at least willing to only enter 64, despite the fact that he was there that weekend. He did not play Melee in singles bracket.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to see a little more from Wizzy. Wizzy, of course, and even in the minds of a lot of the Falcon community, the greatest Falcon to ever touch a GameCube controller. Just his efficiency, his potential to kill off any grab and take as many punishes as far as humanly possible. It's just amazing to watch. Is it the most exciting playstyle? Probably not, but it is definitely ruthless, efficient, and deadly. So hope to see a little more from Wizzy. And going into off-season, there's a lot of really cool events, and I recommend that. I'm honestly going to be watching all of off-season and every single event. I grew up playing Guitar Hero 3. I was a 3-season master player in Black Ops 2 League play. I was Melee, and of course I grew up playing 64. I have a stake in every single one of those events. I just absolutely love every single game that is represented at the off-season. Unfortunately, I'm going to be busy that weekend, so I could not attend in person, even though the flights were actually pretty cheap from Denver, but I thought about it. It just wasn't. It was too short notice for me to fly out, but maybe one day I'll get enough clout to be able to commentate. Maybe next year. So
it kills me that I can't go to this, because last year, and I've talked about since then, Hada, you've had to hear me say several times over, I love new counterpick stages that have previously been banned for a charity event, and really when we say charity event, we're truly raising money for a good cause, men's mental health. That being said, the Melee community is not. How do I phrase this in a way that doesn't sound really bad? But it's kind of like it's an event, and then they almost have to be reminded, oh, this is a charity event. Oh, right. So you're saying I have to play on Mute City today? I have to play on Brinstar today, because those are the counterpick stages for this year. Just for that fact alone, the best way to support an event is to go, to pay the registration fee, to support the cause via donations and all that stuff. And it just kills me that I can't go, because I would be there front row going, Brinstar, because I want to see the chaos. I love it when you just put an inkling of Melee's chaos back into competitive bracket, because you get to see really cool, fun stuff. Wizrobe tech chasing Leffen when Leffen had an invisibility cloak type thing. Or last year when Axe bravely, nobly picking to Mute City, but then realizes Pikachu can't grab any ledges because there are no ledges, and now I have landing lag, and Jmoot goes, I could punish landing lag on Pikachu's up B. Oh, it was so painful, but I respected it so much. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That's not, again, I have to stress, it's not this weekend. The off-season 2 will be the following weekend, but that doesn't mean we can't ogle about it right now. I'm very, very excited. 64 brackets should be great as well. There's already top 10 players that I've already registered that were going to be there. And then, yes, I think a lot of us grew up with Guitar Hero 3. I just never played competitively. And then Black Ops 2, not my favorite Black Ops. I preferred the first one because Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies was so epic, yes. And so the point is, I played enough of Black Ops 2 because I loved the first one so much. Easy to understand. These are all very viewable, pleasant to watch events. We're gonna get reverse commentary at some point on the weekend. I'm so looking forward to exactly. We need more of those as well. Just somebody who doesn't normally watch competitive Melee be forced to commentate it, because you're almost having somebody do a reaction video. You're kind of straying into that territory. And all Melee players and Melee enthusiasts, we love seeing people who are not Melee heads reacting to Melee, because they just go, wait, what just happened? Wow, that was really cool. And we go, yeah. However, that all being said, we don't have time for a show match today, Hada. I got places I gotta be. Right. Do you wanna, other than wishing good luck to Guex, who is a Yoshi out of New England Melee NEM, shout outs to you for retiring, doing the brave thing that a lot of us just, have stubbornly refused to do, or have said they retired and then kind of creeped back into it. So we'll see how that goes. But the thing that Guex said on the announcement tweet or post, I guess, on X Twitter, you get it. Putting the same energy I had when I first fell in love with Melee into other parts of my life, I've noticed I've been considerably happier, and I plan on continuing my current path. That's the kind of good stuff you like seeing. Some people retire because they got sick of losing, or they got sick of something about Melee, and they walk away and realize, oh, I don't really have anything to walk into. This is a great healthy spot where you're saying the energy that I previously put in the game, I've been putting into other areas, and Melee's just kind of fallen by the wayside. It is what it is. But also, that's great. That means you have other things to look forward to, and increasing the happiness is a win for me and Hada, I'm sure. Hada, but is there anything else that you wanted to close us out with?
On the topic of retirement, I completely sympathize with spreading yourself too thin, because you don't want to be half in, half out, especially with something like Melee. Melee is such a demanding, difficult game to play to the potential that I'm sure he does. I think a lot of people understand that to play Melee to the level that you're expected to, or to enjoy it to the most, you want to be able to compete, to be able to potentially win and not lose to these up-and-comers who just have a little more time, a little more energy to donate to the game. And when it boils down to it, I'm glad that he found other things in his life that give him passion and give him energy, because when you don't have that, it can feel kind of empty. Sorry, I'm dunking on this Marth just to give the people a little bit of Hada Dr. Mario, which is what was going to come out, but Hada Doc is here, so trying to multitask just a little bit. But guys, thank you so much for watching the pod on our podcast platforms, Google Play, Spotify, Pandora, all the good stuff. Also,
yeah, so shout outs to, I got to outlive, one of the proudest things I'll ever say is I got to outlive Stitcher Premium. I gotta be honest with y'all, I am struggling over here with my motivation to do this, not because I don't like Hada. I love Hada. Hada keeps me going. I'm talking about for doing the interviews. I have not been doing a lot of interviews recently, and I think it's because I thought this would be the opposite. I thought having really, really young kids would lead me to say, I am just really busy because young kids are a lot to completely be able to be attentive and loving to them. And as they get older, they start to do their own things. But I'm realizing as they're starting to get older and do their own things, I'm just kind of along for the ride, and I'm getting sucked into that stuff because I enjoy learning about new things that they're learning about and getting into. So I don't know if one of my children gets into anime, and I've been more of a very selective enjoyer of anime. I've watched maybe 3 total series in their entirety in my life, and there are how do you know better than me, and there are people who know better than both of us collectively. There are so many shows out there, so many great arcs and stories that I'm sure if I gave them the time of day I might enjoy more, but I just do not feel like it. But if Ellie or Ezra got into them and that's what they want to watch, I'd be watching it with them and finding something that I like about it, and then I can have that kind of thing in common with them, you know? They've been having me play Legend of Zelda games, and I have them play a little bit here and there. They love that. They love the games. We've been going through Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. So we're already kind of cultivating little things like that. Obviously, not just video games, okay? Other things too, but you get what I'm saying. It's just an example. They're getting into stuff and I'm getting into that with them, and I go, oh yeah, that's right, Melee recently. So it's been tough, but like I said, Hada is a big motivator for me. Whenever we're doing this, I'm right back in it. I'm locked in. It's just I kind of float around for the rest of the week. So Hada, you understand that too?
I do.
We all go through the in and out phases with how intensely we're dedicating whatever amount of time and specific time into the game. That all being said, I don't know, but I want to keep doing this with Hada for at least a little while longer. So we will be back next week because I'm going to be so excited to talk about Off Season 2. We'll have a better idea of who's actually going. Shoutouts to Mango. Will Mango miss his flight? Will he not miss his flight? And until then, I hope you all have an amazing weekend. If you are not drinking enough water, not giving yourself enough time a day to treat yourself well, to treat others as well. Please continue to be mindful of that. Be safe, drink water, and have a good day, all you gamers. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.